Can you tell I'm in a tequila mood tonight? Banana, I am, because we're having tequila on the show. I've even made a margarita to start. Welcome to the NightCap Live. I'm Dan Dunn. I've given it away already. I've given away the goat, so to speak. We are drinking tequila tonight. It's Casa Dragones Tequila, which is one of the best tequilas in the world. And joining us in just a little bit is the co-founder of the brand, Bertha Gonzalez, Nieves. She's the best. She's going to tell us all about Casa Dragones' portfolio of tequilas, and we're going to taste through these tequilas. We got the Anejo, the Blanco, and the Joven, all of which make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, just thinking about it. Also joining us on the show is an actor who has starred in several fantastic TV series, including Hot in Cleveland, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and one of my all-time favorites, True Blood. Michael McMillian will be on the show in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk vampires. Right? I love vampires. So again, tequila, I need to tell you, Americans first learned about tequila the same way this great nation learns about most things, through war. So in 1821, Mexico won its independence from Spain. Then in 1836, a bunch of folks in what was then called northern Mexico decided that they should have their own country too. Santa Anna didn't agree with that, so he sent an army to put down the Texas Rebellion. Things got ugly. Remember the Alamo? Of course you do. In any case, as the Mexican troops streamed north to fight, they brought a steady supply of their beloved agave spirit, some of which inevitably ended up in the hands of these Texan soldiers who, 10 years later, would start calling themselves Americans. History for you. Now, years after that, Yankees from Sea to Shining Sea began annually commemorating Mexican Independence Day on May 5th, which is muy loco, considering Mexico's actual Independence Day is September 16th. It was a slip of the celebration for which the spirits industry is totally to blame. They made it up. Stateside booze merchants made up that holiday, May 5th, and they served it up to America, and America gratefully knocked it back with lime and salt. But we're not here tonight, my friends, to quibble over the calendar when there's fine tequila to be quaffed. Here, just to prove it to you. I got it right there. So, that's coming up. I'm supposed to remind you, there's things I have to do, part of my job, that Flaviar is going to enter the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest online toast in history. It's going November 12th at 9 p.m. Which 9 p.m.? They didn't tell me. I live on the West Coast, could be on the East Coast. It's 9 p.m. somewhere. On that day, they're going to go for this with this toast, and everyone is invited to join in and be part of history. For more information, go to Flaviar's Facebook page and look for updates. They're going to be giving you updates, I'm assuming including the time zone. They don't have it for me yet, but eventually they will have the time zone. I should also remind you to check out my podcast called What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn, and it's just so much fun. Right now I've got, we talked about the history of tonic on the latest episode. I should also, and that's available everywhere podcasts stream. Speaking of podcasts, I will be on doing my regular monthly gig on the Adam Carolla Show this coming Monday, November 2nd. I'll be drinking American-made whiskey to celebrate. Something big's happening in America next week. They told me, I heard. So to celebrate that, we're going to have American-made whiskey. I think it's something that can bring us all together rather than tear us apart. I hope. As always, we have a giveaway on the show tonight. We're going to be giving away not one, two prizes. First off, the Flaviar membership. We always give one of those away. Flaviar is the reason we're here, and it's a club for spirits enthusiasts, and they bring people together who want to discover new whiskeys, rums, and of course tequila. Whatever spirit you're into, they got it at Flaviar. And every quarter, they'll send you samples. You get a bottle. You get access to highly allocated bottles you can't find anywhere else, Flaviar only stuff. All the while, they keep you educated and entertained. And, me too, whatever this is I'm doing. It's a really amazing way, though. Seriously, it's an amazing way to discover friends and bond over our dear friend, adult beverages. And so I invite you to join up. If you're not a member already, join up for Flaviar and be part of the team. That's one prize. The second prize. Oh, yes. See this? See this thing right here? This beauty? This is the Casa Dragones Joven. See, look at that packaging. You don't go to all that trouble to package junk. I'll tell you that much. It's not junk. It's one of the best tequilas you're ever going to have. And one of you is going to win a bottle of this tonight. One of you. Hey, Mom, if you're out there, remember what I told you about the contest. All right. Anyway, okay. Here's how you're going to do it. This is how you're going to win it. And you got a comments box there. There's comments. I think it's to the left. You can type in your questions, comments, suggestions, emojis, whatever you want to do. But you're also going to put your contest entry in there too. And the contest tonight, since Michael starred on True Blood, one of my favorite shows of all time, what I want to know from you, I want you to name the 3 best True Blood characters ever. The show was on for, I think, 17 years or something like that. It was on a very long time. And in that time, there was a lot of characters. So I want you to pick your 3 best characters on True Blood. Put them in the comment box. Send them in for a chance to win at the end of the show. Bertha, Michael, and myself will choose the winners. Now, I'm going to give you a tip here. Michael played Steve Newland, and if you want to suck up and put Steve Newland in there, I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm not going to say it's going to make you win either. But what I will tell you this, no matter what names you put in there, if you see above you in the comment thread that somebody else put the same entries that you're putting in there, chances are I'm only going to see their entry because they don't send me every one. They do like first come, first serve. So if somebody has the same one that you put in and they're above you, just a tip, I would change mine. I would switch it up just a little bit to give yourself a chance to win. What else? I want to let you know, for those of you who tune in regularly, after tonight, we're going to be taking 2 weeks off to focus on my mental well-being, I think. I'm kidding. I'm fine. I'm not worried at all about next week. I'm not worried at all about November 3rd. In case you're wondering, I'm not worried. Okay? But we're taking next week off anyway, and the following week, but we will be back on November 17th with Alexis Ohanian, founded Reddit. We're going to be drinking Shackmot brandy. That's right, brandy. Because November is brandy weather. I don't know if you're aware of that. It's when it chills up, and tequila, on the other hand, feels summery and fresh. And I'm going to bring on the guest now because I'm losing it. I shouldn't have thought about it. See, the problem is I started thinking about the election, and now I'm frazzled, and maybe someone can ground me right now. I need somebody to bring me and ground me, so I'm going to bring him on right now. As I mentioned, he's been on a bunch of shows and movies. He is a fantastic actor and an all-around good guy. Please welcome to the show, Michael McMillan. Michael.
Oh. Yes, I wish that I had the time to cut a hole for my face, and then I could have opened it up. really put a stain on the brand of
it's such a
beautiful
good-looking
tequila.
Seriously, Michael, and we're going to get into the career stuff in a second, but how important is that to you when you're going out, you're purchasing alcohol, like the packaging and the way it looks?
Well, you may be able to see over my shoulders that I'm a bit of a collector. Usually it's comic book and action figure related. So packaging is always very nice for someone who's a collector. I'm now realizing, having been gifted this beautiful box, that I might be collecting the wrong stuff because this is gorgeous. But yeah, the question always is, though, and I struggled, especially when it comes to alcohol, is do you keep it in the box? You can't keep it in the box.
Okay. As someone who's been fortunate enough to probably have tens of thousands of bottles I've come across in the course of my career, It is difficult. There are certain packages where I have a hard time throwing the box out because the box itself is so beautiful, and certainly Casa Dragones is one of them. I like the ones, some of the older scotches and the the higher, the really old premium stuff is gonna come in, like an oak wooden box and I'll use those. I've kept those. The thing I keep though more than anything are the bottles themselves. Like this is a good looking bottle.
Yes.
You could do something with this bottle after you've finished it.
You could cap off a cruise liner as it goes off to sea.
That's right.
Yeah,
right there. Yeah,
you could hit it over the head with hit a pirate over the head with it if you needed to.
This makes for a very effective weapon. I'm just saying, if let's just say, crazy, 2021 somehow turns out to be worse than 2020, and you find yourself in need of weapons handy, this bottle right here, this is some solid glass right here.
Or you turn that weapon into a hobby. You become one of those guys that's putting the tiny little ships in the bottle and putting them up just all around your home fort.
But yeah, no, I do. I find it, if you're going to be filling up your home bar, it's nice to have cool looking bottles on the bar. Yeah.
Yes. Do you have lights on your bar to sort of highlight all the cool? Like, so you need some good like LED lights to really.
No,
make it
I just have this ring light right in front of me for my face.
Yeah.
My vanity only extends to myself. I don't care what the bottles look like. It's like me, In fact, at my bar I have the ring light, but it's trained on me at all times.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, don't worry about what's it. Look at me.
Just the mirror in front of you.
By the way, Michael, I got to say your lighting right now is perfect.
It's a ring light. It's a very inexpensive ring light. Thank you, that I bought off Amazon. Because now we're in the age of doing everything at home, and including all the auditions that I put myself on tape for. So I was like, I guess I have to. And I do a podcast, so even though it's not a video.
Tell us about the podcast.
So I do a podcast called Bigfoot Collectors Club, where we talk about anything involving the world of the paranormal or the unexplained. So you got your Bigfoot, you got your UFOs, you have your haunted houses. This month, all month long for October, for the spooky season, we've been doing a theme called Terrifying Tales from Zombie Bigfoot's Cryptid Crypt. So we're focusing on more horror-based stories. Just in time for Halloween, we just did a big deep dive episode on the Amityville horror. Of course, the Amityville house and up, on Long Beach in New York.
So original movie or the remake? Which one?
Well, I'll be honest, I haven't seen the sequel. The original movie's a classic. No offense to
James
Ryan
Brolin.
Reynolds.
James Brolin, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. And why am I blanking on her name? She played Lois Lane. Help me out. Thank you. So we went back to the original. I co-hosted it with another actor named Bryce Johnson, and then our on-mic producer Riley Bray, who's also a really brilliant musician, and he composes original music for when we tell the stories of high strangeness. But we went back to the original book by Jay Anson that inspired the movie and the entire legacy, and went back to the original source material, read it all. And so it's sort of a radio play book report, and where we interject our own opinions about what may or may not be true. Although that we feel like when it comes to the supernatural isn't the most important part. The important part are the stories, and especially this time of year when it's spooky out.
How much of Amityville do you, having looked at all the material, because for those of you who are not familiar, they get this house. The famous line from the movie, of course, is the house says, "Get out."
Yes.
And by the way, that spawned the best, one of the best Eddie Murphy jokes. Eddie Murphy was talking about how white people in horror movies, like he said, black people are just like, the house goes, they're like, "Oh, this is the best house ever." They're like, "Get out. Too bad we can't stay." He said, "But white people always stay in the house." And it's like,
yeah,
okay, we're going to stick this out.
It's
Blood's shooting out of the toilet, but that
problem,
could just
yeah.
plumbing.
It's a problem with a lot of for me, as soon as those flies are infested, I'm like, okay, we're done here. And they don't even call an exterminator. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, the house now was obviously the site of some a real true crime massacre young man murdered his entire family in that house. So automatically, for me, that's a no thank you. So that stuff's obviously true history. Whether or not, and to the extent the Lutz family who moved in experienced a true haunting, and this is somebody who believes in ghosts, to be honest. I'm not sure. I definitely think they experienced something, but I think maybe it got exaggerated. I think the book embellishes a lot of what may have really happened, but we leave it for our listeners to decide.
So was this something? Obviously, we talked about you start on True Blood, and that about as supernatural as it gets. That show, is that something you were in were you into this prior to being on True Blood?
Yes, definitely. I grew up. There was this weird thing that happened in the 1980s where every public school library had an occult and paranormal section. That looking back, I'm like, I don't know why they had these books for children in there, but I would go immediately to I remember where it was in my school library, but it was all the books on Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot and UFOs and ghosts. And my good buddy and I, we would check them out and scare ourselves with these stories. And I was, I was always convinced that there was something that the grown-ups were not telling me, about what's, I didn't believe them when they said there was no such thing as ghosts. So I've always been fascinated with it. So to get to do a show and I loved X-Files growing up, that when I was really hitting the age where I was like, okay, I want to go to LA and be an actor. X-Files was one of those shows that was like, man, if I could get on a show like this, that would be so cool. And so when I got to do True Blood, I loved it, and that, True Blood vampires aren't necessarily something that I think might be, real, but I love them as a horror icon. I love vampires, I love all the Universal Monsters stuff as well.
And what resonates to me now, looking back, and it's been many years since I've watched the show, is it was an allegory for, the vampires. The vampires were, I think it was basically about the oppression of the gay community, right?
Gay community, minorities in general, just anyone who tends to be marginalized by society and misunderstood or made to be the other in society. And it's fascinating now too, because my character obviously is this. He's the leader of a church who is very anti-vampire, and this was sort of coming on the heels of the age of Ted Haggard, who was a big Texas preacher who was later caught, doing meth with a. I
think he was Colorado. I think he was Colorado.
He bounced around a little bit, but
Ted Haggard.
Yeah.
What's chilling about him, Michael, just real quick, he was in that movie Jesus Camp. I don't know if you ever saw that documentary.
I did that. Actually, I watched that for research for the role for Steve Newland. That was one of the first movies I watched.
There was a really crazy. It was a documentary that basically followed evangelicals, and they focused on these camps for children. But there was a crazy part where they're following him. He's got this mega church, and he looks at the camera directly, and he says, I know what you did, and I'm going to tell your wife. And it was just like a random thing that he said. And after he got caught, he was virulently anti-gay and anti-this, family values. And of course, he got caught doing that with a male prostitute. But when he said that thing, I know what you're doing, and I'm going to tell your wife, it was almost like he was confessing in the documentary to what
classic projectionism,
Yeah.
The big red flag. But it's funny now, because having played that character now in the state of everything, I get so many tweets of so many senators saying, this guy really reminds me of Steve Newland. I'm like, oh, is this the legacy? I have to be compared to these guys for the rest of my life?
Steve Newland would be a candidate for the White House today. Yeah, he'd be a leading candidate to take over. But we're not here to talk about politics, are we?
I was going to say they would.
Wait, hold on. My director's chat. That's right. He's saying correct. We are not here to talk about politics. Flaviar loves when I talk about politics, don't they? After next week, no more. I won't talk about it again. I promise. What we should be doing, Michael, and I really think we need to get to this, is to start drinking some tequila.
I'm very excited. Yes,
please. Would you agree with this?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's time to bring in the big guns now. Time to bring in somebody who really knows what she's talking about as opposed to me. And as I mentioned, she is the co-founder of Casa Dragones Tequila, and she knows more about tequila than I will ever know. I'm sure of that. And hopefully she can share some of that knowledge with us tonight. Please welcome Bertha Gonzalez Nieves. How are you? Oh, got to unmute you. And
here we are.
There we go. Hi.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Excited to be here amongst such an incredible group of Flaviar, what Flaviar has accomplished in terms of like spirit aficionados and spirit lovers. And it's really exciting for us. So I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank you for having me. And always great to see you, Dan. And nice to meet you today, Mike.
Nice to meet you too. And thank you to Casa Dragones and you for this lovely gift. I appreciate it. Also, I just want to note, great vanity lights you've got going on there, Bertha.
See,
that's what I'm talking about.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah, that's classy. That's
that
classy.
Looks good. Now, Bertha, your story, you started Casa Dragones with Bob Pittman, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The gentleman who
Correct.
started MTV.
Yes.
And if memory serves, and this is all off the top of my head, it really is. I'm not looking at notes, anything. You were at a party in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, in the mid-aughts, and you had been working for the Beckman family, among others, Jose Cuervo, but you were starting Casa Dragones. You start talking to Pittman, one thing leads to another, and then boom, you guys are in business together. And I think Casa Dragones came out, about 2009, correct?
2009, we started the company in 2008. But when I met Mr. Pittman, I was still fully employed with the Beckman family. And so here I am, in this party in Williamsburg, and I'm talking to the founder of MTV. So I'm like, so excited. And he's like, what do you do? And I give him my background. And he says, really? Well, I've always wanted to start a tequila company. And like, really? Well, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And that's how it all started.
Now, one of the things I find fascinating about the brand, and you and I have talked about this before on my show, is you came out of the gate with the Joven, which is the most expensive tequila in your portfolio and remains that way today. Still, yeah.
Still,
and
yes.
it was an expensive tequila, so that was a bit of a gamble you took early on to come out with a new tequila that was upwards of $200 and clear. I also feel from a consumer level, they expect there to be some color in that liquid if they're paying more than $200. Wait, this thing wasn't in but now tell us a little bit. Or actually, we're not going to taste that one first, right? What are we going to go with first? The Blanco?
Yeah, no. We're gonna taste. This is how our journey started. So we need to start with Casa Dragones Joven for sure.
Okay.
Then we're gonna try our Blanco, and then we're gonna try our Anejo.
Okay, so we can talk about the Joven. So tell us about it. Even though it is clear, it's a combination of. Go ahead.
So in that, in the tequila category, we have 5 official classifications of tequila. You have Blanco, Reposado, Anejo, Extra Añejo, and Joven. White, rested, aged, extra aged, and Joven, which is really, the translation in the Spanish language would be young, but it really doesn't mean young. So when we founded,
it's like most of Hollywood.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what I'm striving for is young, but I'm mostly not young.
Yeah, John Travolta's hair, for instance, looks young. It's not young. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just want to keep Michael involved talking about Hollywood stuff. Go ahead. Yeah, no.
Oh, does someone want to talk about looks in Hollywood? Great.
You're so shallow. No.
So for our first product, we knew that we wanted to be part of the tequila producers that was really trying to expand the tequila repertoire. We believe that today, we're lucky that today people are looking to try a lot of different things within a category. People it's like reading a book, right? You want to read plenty of books. In other generations, probably people had very loyal to 5 brands, or 3 brands, and that's what they drank in their homes, and they were very proud of their choices. We think today people are all about exploration. So we wanted to be very definitive in really expanding the tequila repertoire through high quality, modern production, and truly surprising the tequila lover with very unique tasting profiles. And this is how Casa Dragones Joven was born. It's a sipping tequila that's made for sipping and pairing with food. And we wanted to prove that tequila can compete with other sipping spirits like cognac, like whiskey, like single malts. And we also wanted to prove that tequila not only belongs in the Mexican cuisine experience, it can actually be part of French cuisine, Japanese cuisine, Italian cuisine, and so on. So we also, between us, since as an entrepreneur, we felt like if this is the only product we're going to have the chance to do, we should pour our hearts into it. And even if this doesn't work out, we had the opportunity to deliver our dream product. So, when you're an entrepreneur, you don't know how long you're going to last. There's always that doubt, right? That you're like walking very close to a dead end if you don't make the right decisions. So for us, we were so excited to have the opportunity to do something different. And that's why the name Casa Dragones came along. This is a cavalry that masterminded the movement of Mexican independence. And we loved the idea of adopting that name. Bob had a house in San Miguel de Allende that used to be their stables. And we wanted to be, in our DNA, have a little bit of that MTV-ness, right? Rebellious, independent, not fearless, And with Casa Dragones, without the vision and really the fire that these guys had, that the history of Mexico would have never been the same, So we love that story, and we incorporated it as ours, and that also fueled the fire of us doing something truly different. And that's Joven, and we can taste that first.
We're going to do it here in a little flute type situation going on here.
Now, I've been told I have an adequate glass, but it's not the correct glass. So, Bertha, what should I be drinking this out of?
Well, you have a very beautiful classic martini glass you're going to send me the information on that
I
glass.
will. It was a gift from to my friends Daniel and Jordan. Shout out. Thank you.
But
is mine okay, Bertha? My glass is okay?
It's perfect. Perfect.
Thank you.
This is the Overture tequila glass that was designed by George Riedel. And he went to Mexico to travel around the country, and he realized the sophistication of tequila. And being in the business of doing glassware, he had multiple roundtables with different tequila producers, and then decided that the tequila category needed an actual glass that could actually represent the sophistication of the spirit. So this is the glass that we actually use for professional tastings. And I'm sure that glass will evolve with time, but it really enables us to see what we're looking for in a proper tasting within the Mexican Academy of Tequila. You're looking for the visual characteristics, the body, the aroma, the taste, and the finish. So if you want to get a high grade, each one of those five different areas are what you are able to accomplish to get a high grade in your tequila. So Casa Dragones Joven is a blend of a white tequila with a 5-year-old extra aged tequila. So this is a very beautiful blend. That's what makes us a Joven. And at the end of the process, we take the color of the extra aged out because we wanted your palate and your nose to define the blend. And we also wanted more permission to pair with food. And we learned through studying that gave us actually more permission. It was a risky move, as you well said, Dan, that it's a Joven, that people don't really know the category, and it's a tequila that's $275, but it's not, there's no color in it. So there was a lot of we really wanted to do something different. And so now that you know that that's kind of like how it's done, I'll take you through the taste and through the aroma. So the aroma is a beautiful aroma. You're not getting that much alcohol notes. The idea is that you're getting it's very inviting. What we're trying to do is we're trying to take within the aroma and the taste most of the alcohol notes out and push to the front the complexity that the plant has to offer. There's around 600 different aromas and flavors cataloged in the Mexican Academy of Tequila. So we're trying to deliver a very complex, very well-balanced tequila with the least amount of alcohol kick that we can actually deliver. And so really that your nose is kind of like the eyes of your taste. So you're already very predisposed once you spend time on the aroma of any spirit or wine. You're already kind of like preconditioning your taste buds to decide, what this is going to taste like. And you're getting the floral and citrus aroma of the Blanco tequila balanced with the sweetness and the spice of the extra aged tequila. So it's we wanted to prove that tequila can actually compete with other sipping spirits, can actually compete against a cognac or a single malt, and that Mexico has a professionalism, that we have 250 years of best practices in the tequila category, and that, this beautiful Agave Azul Tequilana Weber has so much to give. So
it's delicious.
I love that sweet smell. I mean, I'm not a very refined gentleman, but and it's not super sweet to taste, but I like that. It almost tastes like a vanilla, or smells like a bit of a vanilla or something to me. What is that? Yeah. What am I smelling there?
So the aroma you're getting is it has that floral and citrus aroma with notes of sweet roasted agave.
That's great.
And then the taste is soft and smooth, with hints of vanilla and spiced undertones, balanced with delicate notes of pear.
Ooh. Now, I'm not a man who would wear a ring usually, but the taste of this tequila kind of makes me want to wear a ring. I feel like I could pull off some masculine jewelry drinking this.
You see, we added this beautiful tie in honor of this cavalry that was very elegant. Good. We did this whole research on the dragoons of San Miguel de Allende, and their outfits they're so elegant that we wanted to bring that elegance into the experience of sipping and doing an old style decanter. You don't see this work anymore. And in Mexico, we really have this great gift of craftsmanship. So we wanted to do an old style decanter made modern and bring that elegance of when people use decanters to serve their spirits, and then you dressed up and you were going to have a cocktail. So we wanted to do that in a modern way, showcase.
I think this is going to be the inspiration for my next producers meeting. I'm going to wear an outfit like this.
You should do it.
Well, you have to send us a picture.
We got a bunch of questions coming in for you, Bertha. One, Nikki Blandis was asking, we're talking about the food pairings. Do you have a favorite food pairing with the Joven? And if so, what is it?
So we have cataloged all of our food pairings in our website. And I'm going to tell you two things. My favorite thing of all time is that when I present a product to a chef, and the chef interprets the pairing in their own, style and cuisine background, it really exemplifies and expresses the complexity that we've been able to deliver on the product. So if they go savory or they go sweet, for me, that exercise of the following them on their journey of taste is something that I love to do. And if you ask me, one of my favorite pairings of all time is oysters. Yeah. Many of the top chefs have paired Casa Dragones Jóvenes with oysters. Oysters were favorite dish of my father. We used to have a journal where we kept, journals of oysters from different parts of the world. So I think that that's one of my favorites.
Mm. Now I'm hungry for oysters.
I'm glad to learn that, a goal was to pair tequila with different types of foods, because I enjoy tequila and I like to have it with a meal. And sometimes I feel like I'm a garbage person, that I'm just pairing it with whatever I'm in the mood to eat. So it's nice to know that maybe I'm a little forward thinking on that, because it should be. I feel like it would be a shame to restrain it to sort of like, no, you can only have this with Mexican food or something.
Yeah. I have had the chance to present our tequila to chefs like Eric Ripert, Thomas Keller. There was
hacks.
When the Four Seasons,
they're all right. They're fine.
When the famous Four Seasons closed in New York, they did a final dinner. And Casa Dragones was selected to be served. There were 7 different top sommeliers, and Casa Dragones Joven was selected to be served with Thomas Keller's desserts. There were also a lot of different chefs involved. And for us, that's what we're trying to bring to the category. We're trying to showcase that it has that level of elegance, quality, craftsmanship to be able to be showcased alongside champagnes, wines, and other incredible spirits. So this is the journey that we're at. We're committed to leaving the category for the next generations, for the appellation of origin of the next generations that are going to come after us, in a way where we can continue to tell this great story of agave spirits.
I'm loving this one, and I want to remind everybody, please chime in with any questions you have for Bertha, myself, Michael, all of us. Teresa Lopez has a question for you, Bertha. Wants to know, can you talk a little bit about where the legs are coming from when you're swirling around the glass? Where do those legs come from?
That was one of my questions.
So first of all, in the visual characteristics of the product, the first thing you're going to notice is the tequila has impeccable clarity. We're obsessed with our clarity and our color. And the legs are long and pronounced legs that translate into a very beautiful silky body that embraces, your palate in a very special way when you're drinking a sipping spirit. The end result comes from the entire process, from the quality of the agave that we're using to the process that we're using, as well as the blend that we're doing from a Blanco tequila and extra aged tequila.
There you have it. Answer your question, Michael?
Yes, and
What
also
else
maybe cue the ZZ Top.
Yes, she's got legs. Let's see, we got a couple more questions coming in here. Chris Maxwell says, when you start from scratch, how do you balance finding a unique taste without going overboard?
When we started from scratch, we had a poster in our little office that said, in order to create, you must forget. And we really we were striving for innovation. So we had a grid, and we continue to have that same grid of we find passion and enjoyment on exploration. And we don't want to repeat what other people are doing. There's already amazing producers that are doing things in an extraordinary way. So we want the opportunity to do things differently and really end up seducing the tequila lover or the spirit lover with truly unique tasting experiences. Now, it's not easy to not go overboard. You can get myriad of options and get lost in the options. You have to have your team. You have to keep yourself really honest amongst yourselves, and don't fall into the trap of falling in love with your own product. You have to put your product out there and get other people to taste it to make sure that you're really doing something special.
Well, to that end, do you spend a lot of time tasting other tequilas?
I do. I actually love tasting what other producers do, enjoy it, learn a lot from it. And it is one of the most, if you go down the aisle of the spirits industry and you walk down the aisle of the tequila category, there's so much creativity and so much to offer that it's kind of you have to be curious, and you have to also have a lot of respect for your colleagues.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to jump in and try the next tequila. What do we have next?
Go ahead. I'm gonna linger here for a while and just.
He's not done. He's not done with that Joven yet.
I'm discovering the pleasures of a sipping tequila. This is nice.
Mm.
So we're gonna move. So after 5 years of producing our Blanco tequila, we started to get feedback from our clients, the customers, the trade, our friends, saying, Bertha, we love your sipping tequila, but you're so strict that we can't serve it on the rocks. We can't do margaritas. We can't put it in the freezer. We can't do all the things we love to do with tequila. So when are you going to do something that has, that versatility and that we can actually do cocktails with? And that's where the idea came along.
Now, why were you being so strict, Bertha? What was going on there?
Because our Joven tequila is a sipping tequila.
Yes, gotcha.
So if you do any of those things that I'm talking about, you're gonna miss out on this particular complexity that we hope everybody finds as special as we do. So
you're saying when I order a Cadillac margarita, I should not be getting it with the Joven. Is that what you're saying?
That would be my recommendation. But Dan, your decision is always respected.
I am kind of a baller, though. You know that, Bertha. When I always tell people that when they order these again, the Cadillac margarita. I said, it's the best upsell a business can do. I go, you know how much shit they're putting in that margarita right now? Like, you're not going to taste that tequila that you're paying a lot of money for. Just get the well tequila in your Cadillac margarita, because they're putting, triple sec and everything else in there, and you're not gonna get it. And again, with something like Joven, you're just not. It would behoove you to not put anything else alongside that tequila. And
we did that for 5 years, and people were telling us, are you really sure you don't want to do a cocktail? We'll move so much more volume. And I'm a businesswoman. I'm going to transmit any other idea, but this product was really defined for you to sip and savor, to really, enjoy. And talking about bottles, we want this bottle to sip and savor, but we also want this bottle in your bar. We want to see that you're actually enjoying it and drinking it. So that's the best sign and the best compliment we can get in any one home bar. So that's when the idea came of the same relationship we were having with chefs. We wanted to have with the chefs of the industry, of the spirits industry, which are the mixologists and the bartenders. They give life to the industry, and we wanted to have that same relationship with them. And we were really thinking about we thought that the right next step for our house was to bring a Blanco tequila that actually focused on exposing the purity of our agave and the purity of our water through an ultra-modern process. And then with these particular profiles, seduce the bartenders and the mixologists to actually go on this journey of signature cocktails that I think couldn't be a more exciting moment for that. I think they're the chefs of our industry. They're the people that bring the creativity and the magic to a bar or a restaurant. So it's really exciting to see where that is going. So our Blanco tequila, I'm not a mixologist, and I know my place very clearly. So when I want a signature cocktail,
I have an idea. Michael could act like a mixologist. He is a professional actor.
I need some suspenders.
Maybe we could role play. Where's your curly mustache?
I'm not nearly hipster enough to pull this out. I needed a little more prep time. Okay, needed to do my research. I'm method.
Hey, we can do another one. We will have you. I have an idea, Michael. Why don't we have you at the Casa Dragones Instagram, and Dan and I will interview. We'll do like a skit on maybe a bar. Maybe
And by the way, I just want to make sure that everybody understands out there that maybe you're not super up on your tequila knowledge. When Bertha's talking about a Blanco, which can also be known as a silver tequila, by rule, it's any tequila that was spent 2 months or less in barrel, but generally it spends no time in the barrel. Okay. And then anything between 2 months and a year is called what's known as a reposado tequila, which means rested. And then anything from a year up is Anejo. And then they created extra Anejo, which I believe is 3 years, right? Over 3 years. Yeah. And then there's super fragilistic Anejo, which is 15 years. No, they'll come up with that soon enough. They'll keep creating categories. But when she says Blanco tequila, this didn't spend any time in the barrel, did it?
No. This Blanco tequila comes directly from distillation. And we wanted to showcase really we're a small batch producer. So our batches are no larger than 500 cases per batch. And we wanted to showcase really the purity of our agave and also the purity of our water that comes from the volcano of Tequila. So this is a very rich mineral water that we extract from natural aquifers that are underneath our distillery. And we give the water these very beautiful, in whiskey, as you know, in single malts, everybody talks about their water. And we want to bring attention to our water. Our water, if you look at your bottle, it says 40% alcohol, 60% is water. So the role of water in the experience of the quality of the product and the taste of the product is really is really unique. So we want to actually be proud of that and talk about that. So many times when I'm doing my tastings, I bring the water so people actually try this beautiful experience.
Yeah.
And
what glass are we going to put this one in?
So
Bertha?
I'm using an old-fashioned glass.
Okay.
And for tonight, I actually we worked with this incredible ice producer called Okamoto Studio, who is a Japanese producer of ice in Manhattan that services some of the top on-premise establishments in the city. So I bought this incredible ice that has a whole. And if you're curious about, we have a video in the Casa Dragones website that you can see the process and why this is so special.
Now, Bertha, you enjoyed my previous glass. I want to know what you think about my favorite Scotch glass in the house. I got this at Disneyland.
I love that.
And it says, my friend named it. It says Big Mike. That's the name of the glass.
Well.
So whenever I'm feeling festive, I say, go get Big Mike off the shelf. We're gonna have a little chat.
So, well, I love your glass. Nothing like
By the way, Bertha,
glass.
so you know my ice. You got your ice. I got this from my ice guy. His name's Snow Miser. We live in Hollywood, Michael and I don't know if you're aware, Snow Miser and Heat Miser were in the Christmas special. He's still out here. He's making ice now, and that's where I got it from. So this is famous celebrity ice. That's all I'm saying. Now, how much of this can I pour over this ice?
Well, you may.
And by the way, I'm not driving anywhere tonight. Just letting you know that.
That's a good thing.
Not driving. So.
1 ounce, 1 ounce and a half. Since we still have one more tequila.
Do I hear 2? Do I hear 2 ounces? Do I hear 2.5 ounces? All right. I'm calming down. Here we go.
Now, I don't have ice. Is that okay?
Yeah,
if that's
okay.
Away.
It's
I can
okay.
go get some if I need to.
Well, I think you may need to.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Michael's going to go get some ice. And while he does...
I wasn't told I needed ice.
Get the ice, and I'll remind everybody that about our contest tonight to win a bottle of the Joven, the Casa Dragones Joven, and also a Flaviar membership. 2 prizes up for grabs. Michael McMillian, of course, starred in True Blood. The question tonight, or the way you're going to win, is the 3 best True Blood characters of all time. Put them in, and Bertha and Michael and I will choose the winner at the end. I have seen every episode of True Blood. Bertha has not seen every episode of True Blood. Michael was in a lot of episodes of True Blood. So between the 3 of us, we're going to be able to pick out 2 winners. Put that in the comments thread. Get it in. You probably only got about 5 more minutes in there to get this in. We're going to be giving this stuff out at the end of the show, and there you go. Michael's back. Got your ice?
Yeah,
good.
I got some ice.
So basically, with this particular tequila, we have the Casa Dragones ice tray. It's like important that the ice is a 2-inch square ice.
I think I'm okay there.
You are.
That's about good, right?
You were prepared.
Perfect.
Very good. So it's beautiful because a square, first of all, choose your water appropriately at home. Make sure you choose your favorite, whether you're purifying your water at home or you're buying bottled water. Just choose the water that you like, so that then when you are actually serving the tequila, you make sure that it's going to harmonize your experience. And that 2-inch ice cube melts slower. So you have a more like a consistent sip overall versus using a lot of little ice, which will melt much faster. So my favorite way of serving at home is with a 2-inch ice cube and a twist of grapefruit.
Hold on, I gotta go to the store. I'll be right back.
Me too. See you in 5 minutes. Yeah.
It is a twist of grapefruit, or if you're entertaining, you can choose your favorite twist. So people feel like they have, their own decision making. Whether you can use lime, mandarin, grapefruit. You can use herbs, or you can use edible flowers. Anything that will let people.
Do you know what my favorite twist is, Bertha? At the end of The Sixth Sense, Bruce Willis was dead. I didn't see it coming. What a twist. Sorry, Michael. You want to take over now? This is what.
I mean, you were crushing it. Now, where do you stand, Bertha? Where do you stand on the lime? Because I'm a lime guy. I like a lime twist.
We want you to enjoy your tequila how you like it. Lime is a traditional lover of tequila. They've been a couple for many years. And I think that that's just a beautiful thing. It's more difficult to find grapefruit in bars or restaurants. But I think give the grapefruit a shot. I think you'll be surprised.
Absolutely will. And you would recommend a twist versus, because a lot of places you go, they'll drop a whole wedge in there.
I would start with a twist because that the twist opens up the tequila, and you get to know the tequila that way. If you then want to add a wedge, that's fine. But give it a try like this.
Right. And by the way, speaking of that, so Michael, one of my things about, especially when it comes to tequila, is this. I gravitate towards Blanco because I don't like wood so much on my tequila, because I really enjoy the flavor of the agave. And obviously the more you're extracting from barrels when you get, and I'm not saying that I'm not knocking an Anejo tequila. They're delicious Anejo tequilas, including the one we're about to have. But for me personally, when Bertha talked about what she's drinking at home, I love tequila unaged. I really enjoy the flavor of agave. So Michael, I was curious with you, is it because it's such a unique flavor, right? When you're drinking tequila, is that something you do as well, or you?
I lean towards Blanco, definitely. And it's funny because I've actually become, in quarantine, just making cocktails at home, and we're talking basic cocktails here. But like I went through a sort of a love affair for a while where I was like really into mezcal because I like that smokiness to it. And so I'd always get like a mezcal soda when I would go out. That was kind of my thing. And at home, I started. Now I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I never really. The last time I gave tequila a shot was when I was like doing shots in college, and I was like, maybe I need to like reapproach it. And so at home, it's funny that you're mentioning some of the stuff, Bertha, because I had been mixing Blanco with soda and doing a little bit of lime, but lately I've been sipping on it more. I've been doing a little bit more of just ice and spirit, because I'm a spirit forward guy. I don't like a heavy mixed cocktail. Margaritas are fun, but I can have no more than one. It's too sugary. It's too much. These days I like a spirit forward cocktail. So, I'm excited to try this.
So a Paloma too. Could you do this in a Paloma, Bertha?
Of course.
Obviously you're talking about the grapefruit.
I'll send you, we have great Paloma recipes. I think that, this tequila is very fresh, is very herbaceous, has very beautiful citrus notes. You're going to get a little bit peppery, a little bit of cloves, and then you have like some hints of almonds and a bright aftertaste. It's very fresh. And I think, it's really beautiful. And it's really, what we love about it is that because it comes directly from distillation, you're still getting very green notes.
It feels really like good. I'm on in an English like pasture having tea time. I mean, it's got a very I think it's that herbaceous quality about it. It feels like this would fit in a Jane Austen movie quite nicely.
They were huge tequila drinkers over there back then during the Victorian
Elizabeth Bennet just like knocked them back.
We got another question for you here, Bertha, from Daniel Altena Blom. Said it was Casa Dragones. The idea was born in the U.S. How did you eventually choose the location on where to make it?
So, I mean, the idea really was less about geography and more about, the idea of how we wanted to participate in the category. I did meet Bob in New York. But tequila has an appellation of origin, and you can only, as you know, produce it in 5 different states in Mexico, which is Jalisco, Michoacán, Nayarit, Guanajuato, and Tamaulipas. But 80% of the land designated for the appellation of origin falls on the state of Jalisco. And to really decide on what area within the appellation of origin we were going to commit to, we had the opportunity to do research across the entire appellation and really think about where was the place where we found the passion and the quality of what we wanted to bring to the table. And that is in Tequila, Jalisco. Our fields are right at the heart of the Mexican Transvolcanic Belt, and which means that we have a very rich mineral soil. that has a beautiful combination of semi-arid and semi-humid soil. And also we have obsidian rock all over our fields. So you have a rich mineral combination of silicium, of potassium, of phosphorus, and many other minerals, together with this beautiful, that you're looking for the agave plant to be successful. You're looking for the right altitude, the right sun exposure, an average amount of rainfall, and soil inclination. It's a bunch of different characteristics that are important for this very noble plant. Actually, the agave plant in Latin means illustrious, admirable, and noble. It's really an incredible plant that we can talk about that on another occasion. But really, the magic of this spirit really comes from these plants.
And so everybody knows when Bertha talks about the tequila, the town of Tequila. So if you were looking at a map and you see Guadalajara is here, if you go this way to the west, Tequila, we go this way, Arandes, which would be more of the Highlands tequilas over that way, right? So it's all kind of, I guess, the town of Tequila is about 2 hours from Guadalajara, right, that way. And then, but that's kind of the nexus, that area surrounding Guadalajara is where most of the tequilas you've heard of come from.
Yeah. And it's a very recommended experience. The agave landscape has been designated a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. So if you have the chance to do, when we all can travel again, to go and experience, just see the beauty of the agave fields. These are endless hills of green and blue plant that is so beautiful and so exotic. That is something to really experience in your bucket list.
I'm in. Michael, you ready to go?
I know what's in my bucket right now.
So
amazing tequila.
I think it's time we move on to the final tequila we're going to be drinking this evening, which is the Casa Dragones Tequila Anejo.
Yes.
Which means aged. My Spanish is on point, don't you think?
Your Spanish is muy bien.
What's that mean? I'm just joking. I'm kidding. I know what that means.
So when we crossed, before we, crossed our 10-year anniversary, which actually we did a Day of the Dead party on November 2nd last year in San Miguel de Allende. We rented the bullfighting ring in San Miguel, did an incredible dinner, plant-based dinner by chefs like Enrique Olvera, Elena Regadas, Daniela Soto-Inez, Blaine Wainfield, Danny Masterton. Really an incredible plant-based dinner, and then a party, of course. And we celebrate our 10th year anniversary. So before that, we started thinking what was the right next step for Casa Dragones, and we realized that we found ourselves really passionate about aged tequilas and started doing a lot of research. We're two maestro tequileros in Casa Dragones. It's Benjamin Garcia and Bertha Gonzalez. So if you look at the signature of our bottles, when we did our first batch of Joven, we realized who's going to sign the bottle, right? And we realized that we had the same initials, so we didn't have to fight for it. And we really started to find a lot of passion in aging. So we had the opportunity then to travel in different parts of the world to get to know different cooperages. And we found this amazing family-run cooperage in Bordeaux, and fell in love with this particular type of wood that's called Cecile wood in the heart of Bordeaux, that's being used by many of the top wine producers in Bordeaux, like Chateau Petrus, Chateau Margaux, Opus One, and different others, labels that are of the same quality, probably less well known. And this is a type of French wood that is less perfumed. So they had the patience to deal with us for 2 years because we wanted to make custom-made casks. So we did a custom-made cask in France and a custom-made cask with American oak. And we aged our tequila for a little bit more than 1 year. And then we do this master blend. That's why it's called Casa Dragones Anejo Barrel Blend. And the idea of this tequila is to let the tequila push through the wood to deliver still some of those very beautiful floral and pear notes, but really caressed by the wood without making it overly sweet, a little bit drier than what you find in the marketplace, but still delivering a very beautiful complexity that we think makes a truly unique tasting tequila.
And I'm going to do this in a Glencairn glass. I'm interested to see what Michael has. What do we got?
Well, I've got two Scotch
Straight from the
glasses here,
bottle.
and I have, yeah, honestly, at this point, please. I mean, I can move back to this,
You
or I
go
can
back
get,
to
yeah,
Yeah, you
great.
can go back to that. Yeah.
And here, a quick note to everybody out there: if you're nosing this thing, and I've talked about this before on the show, is you want to agitate it a little bit, get the stuff going, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to ram your nose all the way in that glass, going to burn your nose out. You want to keep your mouth open a little bit when you're nosing it, so your mouth's open, your nose is open, and you're breathing it in, and that's how you're gonna be able to pick up all the the different sort of nuances that are going on inside that thing. So we're gonna do this, and we're gonna go. Oh yeah. And I'm just getting right. The first thing I got was like pineapple, like a tropical fruit note that I got right there on the nose. It was but then also some spice there, a little like white pepper, right? The two of them commingling, as it were. Michael, what do you get?
I'm getting memories of my grandfather's front yard. This is just taking me to a nostalgic place. No,
it's pretty amazing, though, isn't it? How it does do that.
It really does. I mean, honestly, again, I don't know. I'm always like saying vanilla or something, but this does have sort of a rich, almost. I get that kind of like. I don't know if gold has a smell. I know it's the color that I'm looking at, but it's that sort of autumnal. There's sort of I guess it's the spiciness to it.
Well, and the vanilla, by the way, when you mentioned the vanilla, Michael, that's coming from the wood. That's coming from the wood. That's a note you're going to get in almost any spirit that spends significant time in oak. You're going to get it. You're going to get a vanilla note to it. Yeah.
I'm scared anything I'm going to say is wrong. No, I get that peppery flavor to it, though. It's that smoky. Like, this has a little bit more of that smokiness that I really, really like. I'm not sure Have I ever had an Anejo before? I'm not sure.
So
you
do
probably
this.
Have.
So do this. I want you then to take a little tiny sip first and just swirl it around your mouth, kind of prime your palate a little bit for about what you're doing. So just do. Chew it up a little bit. Now your mouth's ready. Now you're ready. And now take a slightly bigger sip, and then you're going to sort of experience the flavors there.
That's great. Yeah, I love that peppery kick to it. That's really, really lovely.
So we always get together with a Mexican Academy of Tequila tasters, and they have different chapters across Mexico to have them help us really point down our tasting notes. And the aroma, the way that it's described by the group is fresh floral, paired with notes of figs and almonds. Figs is very beautiful. It does have a sweetness, but it also has a tartness.
The almonds, that's what it is. It's that kind of almost toasted almond taste. That's the it's funny. That's what made me feel nostalgic about it in all seriousness, because my mom used to make when I was a kid these sugar cookies that were very almond forward, and that's one of my favorite flavors. So it's funny that I didn't recognize it right away.
One of the things that when you're being trained for a master sommelier is that most of the aromas and flavors that you remember come from your childhood. So in order to train yourself to expand your vocabulary of taste, you have to it's almost like we're using visual aids and aroma aids, because in order to actually, we tend all to go, it's not personal, we all tend to go to very few aromas and flavors because that's what connects us to our childhood. So that's actually really nice that you went back to think about, that time. So anyways, we have a aroma wheel that has around 600 different aromas and flavors cataloged in the Mexican Academy of Tequila. So when you sit at a table to taste with other maestro tequileros, most usually you take notes. You can't talk in a tasting. And then when we share our notes, most common than not, we are all in agreement on what the taste is about because we've been training on those aromas in taste. The taste has notes of macadamia, nutmeg, and blackberry. And the finish has a long round finish with notes of cacao and spicy black pepper.
What's beautiful about it too is you get that peppery kick on your palate, but it doesn't go down your throat that way. You know, it stays on your lips and tongue in a really lovely way, but you're not going, you know what I mean?
So, there's not a lot of burn on there. I mean,
no burn at all.
What's the alcohol in this? Like just 40%, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not too high alcohol.
We want to make sure that that the finish is a long warm finish that's not arresting and it has a very beautiful permanence in your palate.
This is
fantastic. That invites you to really enjoy the product.
What would you eat with this? Could you do oysters with this one too?
I don't know if oysters. I have to say that because we introduced this tequila in July, we really haven't had the chance to explore the pairings as much as we wanted to, given the challenging times that we're living on. But I can't wait to hear where chefs are going to go with this.
I feel like, honestly, I mean, I may sound like an idiot here, but this to me has, again, like a really autumnal, I guess it's that nutty flavor, the peppery. Like this should go on paired with any Thanksgiving dinner plate. I feel like would be delicious.
I think you're right on that too.
Like a nice, hearty, really beautifully flavored, meal like that. Especially like mixed with the cranberry sauce and like a really lovely poultry. This would go down beautifully. I mean, it replaced it. Give me this instead of white wine at Thanksgiving dinner. I'm good to go.
Okay, we will do that.
Well, she already gave it. She already gave you some, man. I see it right there in the back.
Yeah, I need more.
Steve, Michael's gonna replace the comic book collection. Next time we see him, it's gonna be all tequila bottles back there.
I know.
I like the comics, but I just find the buzz isn't quite as good as the.
Yes. Looking around the room, I realize what a child I've been this whole time. Now, after this, I'm a man.
You're part of the club now. You're in the Casa Dragones club, my friend. Yeah. And speaking of the club, I think it's about time that we start. We give away the prizes for tonight. And do you want to? I think we should. Do you want to start with the Flaviar membership, and then we'll hit him with not that the Flaviar membership isn't the big gun, but then and we hit him with this next, or what do you want to do that? All right. So
sounds good.
Again, the question was the 3 greatest characters from the HBO series True Blood. We will make a determination. Bertha, of course.
Now, Dan, I have to interject. I just have a question. How is there a correct answer to this? Are we determining the correct answer of what the top 3 are?
That's right. I forgot. Michael hasn't met me before. Yes.
Got it. It's
whatever I say.
Your opinion. Okay,
yes,
great. Got it. Fully on board here. Just on board, just checking out what the rules are. Got it.
John Hodgman was the resident expert on The Daily Show.
Great,
I'm the resident expert on NightCap Live. So, yeah, it's kind of whatever I say goes.
Gotcha.
But that said, I will take your input, because you were on the show.
Fair enough.
You were a cast member on the show. So I'm wondering if I should get yours first, Michael. No, we'll hit a couple of these.
I've got a list here that is on standby should it need to be referenced.
All right. Well, let's hit a couple of these. We'll throw them out. Now, Bertha, in the interest of disclosure, you've not really seen True Blood.
Well, I have seen part of True Blood, not all of True Blood.
Okay, so you get it a little bit. All right. So
I do.
Yeah. All right, we're good. All right, here we go. So this is we're going to throw out some of these. Angie Jack says, "Yay, I love True Blood too. Who doesn't?" Favorite characters: Lafayette, Tara, and Jessica. 3 great characters.
Great characters.
Awesome, as Angie says. All right, so there we go. And then Angie also says, "Welcome to the show, Michael."
Oh, well, thank you.
All right.
Great characters, by the way. I love all 3 of those.
Chris Maxwell says, Rucker Hauer's character, which was that
Niall?
Niall, yes.
Yeah. Great grandfather Niall. Yes.
The late great.
What a brilliant, by the way, just the chance that the fact I got to work with Rucker Hauer was one of the biggest moments of my. I'm such a Blade Runner fan, and he was such an eccentric, lovely guy. I know we got to get going, but one of the most beautiful things that ever happened on set was I was like, Rutger, it's good to see you, and he just grabbed me by the face and took me in his hands and just went, "Argh," and then just sent me on my way. And I was like, that's the best way I've ever been greeted in my life.
I used to go to a gym. I used to go to a gym in Marina Del Rey, and one day I came out of the gym and they had like a little cafe and there was an outdoor area, and Rucker Hauer was sitting there. And I came out and I got a little snack after the gym, and I sit at the table near him, and he said, "Excuse me, do you know what time it is?" And I told him, but the best thing was he had an iPhone that was sitting right in front of him. I could see that he had an iPhone, but he looked over to me and said, "Do you know what time it is?" And I said, "Sure." And I looked at and I said, "It's this time." And I just thought it's so cool that he was like, he just wanted to have that human interaction.
Yep.
That, he could have touched his phone and yeah.
He's a trickster. He was well cast as a fairy for sure.
He was the best. So okay, we got that one there. That we'll put Angie, you're in there. Eagle Tack TV says Eric, Sam, and Sarah, great characters. Eric Northman, of course, being who was the guy that played him?
Alexander Skarsgård.
That's right. Sam was the guy that owned the bar.
Yep.
And Sarah was your wife, right?
That's right. Sarah Newland, played by the lovely and hilarious Anna Camp.
Man, that's it. This is going to be tough. This is going to be a tough one to pull off here. But there are a couple that I think need to be mentioned that I haven't.
There's one that hasn't been mentioned that I'm shocked by.
That hasn't been mentioned yet. So we're going to go Gina. Hi, Gina. Sam, Eric Northman, and Andy. Andy Belfleur.
Fantastic.
Andy Belfleur was one of my favorites. Who was the guy that played him?
Chris Bauer.
Chris Bauer.
Brilliant.
That's right. Chris Bauer.
Can deliver the line pig in more ways than any other actor, versatile ways than any other actor could. Pig.
Nikki Blandis said, well, here's the pandering. I was waiting for it. Steve Newland.
Oh, fair enough. Thank you.
There he is. Eric Northman.
That was the correct answer.
Ooh, and here's one that we hadn't heard before was Russell.
There we go. That's
Russell
on my list too.
Dennis O'Hare. The great Dennis O'Hare.
Yes.
That's a good one. Fawn Vert says Jason Stackhouse.
Jason's another
Lafayette
one on my list.
And Sookie. And then Melissa Bell, Sophie Ann Leclerc. I don't remember Sophie Ann Leclerc.
Sophie Ann is Queen Sophie Ann, correct? That's Evan Rachel Wood.
That's right.
Remembering
Evan
correctly?
Rachel Wood. That's right. It was Evan Rachel Wood.
Boy, I hope I got that right, because I'll tell you what, time is passing in my brain, especially on a few sipping tequilas.
And Nan Flanagan. And Nan Flanagan, I believe, was like the head of the vampires, like the union or something, right?
Yes.
Okay, that was a good character. I like this. And then what was the Pam?
Pam, I can't believe Pam hasn't been mentioned yet.
Pam was great. What was it, Pam de Beaufort or whatever? De Beaufort?
De Beaufort.
Yeah, de Beaufort. Pam de Beaufort, great character. That's a good list. I'm going to give you that right there. And that one is Melissa Bell. Daniel Altina Blom said Eric Northman, Pam, Lafayette, Chris Blade, Tara Thornton, Holly Cleary, and Liam.
Always great.
Candle Power, Eric, Pam, Holly, Russell Edgington, Jessica Marianne. All right.
Dan, you got to settle this once and for all.
Yes.
Yeah, there's just not it. I'm looking for the one that I don't see. All right. So we're giving away the membership, right? First, we're giving away the Flaviar. What do you guys think?
Let me just ask, did anyone have Pam, Russell, and Lafayette as their holy trinity?
Russell, I don't see that.
I had Eric, Jason, and Sookie as backups as well, because I think, you can't have True Blood without Sookie.
You can't really.
Pam, Russell, and Lafayette were there. If anybody had that, then they should get something. If they didn't, then I'm sorry.
Well, the one that is missing that was on my list was Jessica Hamby.
No, Jessica was on there.
She on one of them?
Mentioned, I believe in the second. Whoever went second named Jessica.
And I should full disclosure here. Ryan Quanton, Jason Stackhouse, a very good friend of mine. So you could pander again. If you had put Steve Newland and Jason Stackhouse on the same list, you'd be way ahead of the game. But we're going to do this one. I'm going to this is how it works. Very scientific method we use here. What was the one we liked? Oh, what about Sean C. said Russell, Jessica, Marianne. What did you want, Michael? Which one did you
I was looking for Lafayette, Pam, and Russell, but all of these people are clearly they've got good taste in characters.
How about Lafayette, Tara, and Jessica? That's pretty good.
There was Jessica. So we got 2 from our list, and Tara, classic character. I think there you go.
All right. So let's go. Angie Jack, you have won the Flaviar membership. Congratulations. Yes. And now we're going to move on to the bottle. We're going to move on to the bottle of Casa Dragones Joven, which is all the rage here. I mean, somebody said you. Kind of like that. Fair
enough. Pandering to
I kind of think pandering should pay off. Short of putting me on the list, you would have probably won.
Who else was with with me on that list?
Eric Northman and Russell. Now the only thing but
That's
there were
good.
no women on that list. But
you know what? We had 2 on the other list, and I have a feminine quality as well, so it's fine. I'm in touch with my feminine side.
And then there's also Chris Pizza Chemi said Russell, Lafayette, and you. So that's
a good one too.
That's a good one. And then the other one is you, Eric Northman, and Russell. So it's really between Eric and Lafayette.
We've already awarded Lafayette. I think we got to go with Russell and Eric because they haven't been mentioned yet in a final list. So I'm gonna go with me, Eric, and 2 of Steve Newland's biggest fascinations on the show as well.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that one. So that's gonna be whoever that was.
Fair enough.
Keith, the director, will figure out whoever that was that just said. And by the way, we should probably raise a toast if we're going to do this to the Lafayette. We keep talking about the late Nelson Ellis, no longer with us. What a great actor he was, and
great man and great actor.
And let's have it. We'll do a little Casa Dragones here. All right. We got anything else? It's been a long one. This has been one of our longest that we've ever done. We get so caught up in the tequila. So caught up in it.
Bertha, I had one last quick question.
Yes.
What's the fastest you've seen one of these disappear?
Very fast.
I'm a little worried now that it's in my house. Even as a sipping tequila, it's not going to stick around.
We're going to check back in with Michael later.
That's what I say. We want people to actually enjoy our products.
Yeah.
So we work really hard to make sure that once you open it, you actually want to enjoy it.
Boy, oh boy, I will.
Oh, just getting word in here that it was Nikki Blandis. Nikki Blandis won the bottle of Casa Dragones. Yeah, Nikki, congratulations. I'm telling you right now, it's one of the best tequilas you're ever going to try. And that's for sure.
3 greatest characters on True Blood, hands down. So there you go.
I'm trying. Who was on my list? I had Jessica. I had Jessica Hamby, which was Deborah Ann Wall. Jace. I had to give my boy Ryan. Jason Stackhouse and Lafayette with Nelson. The other one we forgot was my buddy Kevin Alejandro's character, Jesus. Great character, and he got to come back as a disembodied head later in the show.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I will say that I'm sorry to hear that Bill, who I think is an underrated character on that show and Romantic Lead, played by the great Stephen Moyer, he should be on, because not only was he Bill, he was also Billith. I mean, he played multiple levels of characters on there. So it's hard. It's tough to pick.
There were so many. And who's the big guy? They do the hunky guy that married Modern
Alcide Herveau, played by Joe Manganiello.
That's right. Come on. How did he not make it on the list?
Bertha, you made it easy because there's only 3 tequilas here for our top 3, but it's like picking your favorite out of these bottles. Right. It's impossible.
Yes.
So I want to thank Bertha Gonzalez Nieves for for being on this show and for making this tequila, because it's fantastic and always great to see you. And where can should people just go to Casa Dragones, go to the website? There's tons of recipes and all that stuff on there.
Yes, they first should go to Flaviar for any, if anyone wants to buy a bottle. And also in our website, you'll find all the information on our pairings, on our cocktails, as well as Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. And email us as well directly on any one of those mediums so we can connect. And thank you to all the team at Flaviar to really create this incredible group of spirits lovers. I'm so happy and proud to be part of this tonight. And thank you, Dan and Mike, for making this so much fun.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me, to both of you.
And speaking of clubs, Bigfoot Collectors Club.
Yes, that's the podcast.
That's the podcast.
Found
Michael
wherever
McMillian.
you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts, we're there.
And then in terms of what do you got coming up next?
We'll see. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so we'll find out. But if you want to catch the latest show I was on, watch Perry Mason on HBO. I did a few episodes of that, and it's a great show. Don't watch it for me. Watch it because it's a terrific program. And then, of course, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. All 4 seasons are playing right now on Netflix, and I have some really, really fun stuff in that. So check that out as well.
Appreciate you doing the show with us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Been a really fight. This could be the longest show we've ever done. I'm looking at it right now, going, and it doesn't feel that way. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel that way at all.
I tend to drag things on.
That's a testament to how great you guys are.
And I just want to say thank you to Bertha. I had such an educational and fun evening as well. I learned a lot. I'm a tequila man now. I really think that.
Good. Well, hopefully next time we can all meet in person.
Fantastic.
I look forward to that as well. And of course, like I said, we're off for the next 2 weeks. We're not back till, I think, November 17th. Alexis Ohanian's going to be on the show. We're going to be drinking brandy. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining us. It's a lot of, this is something I look forward to every week, being holed up here in my house alone, to get to spend time with you and great people like Bertha and Michael. And I know you got a lot of options out there, but we thank you for joining us. And salud.
Salud.
Skål.
Skål.